didn't like the fit of last year's team. Very inconsistent, had some injuries here and there. It just didn't work. But they had moments a year ago. I think this team this year will have more than moments because of Haggerty in general.
And so can they get back into the upper echelon of the Big 12? Away we go, partners. Preseason hoops. There's been a lot of good games on the hardwood today. Here's another.
There's another good one from two elite conferences that make up 12 of the top 25, and immediately Missouri's showing what they're going to be like this year. Big, strong, and powerful at the rim.
Well, tonight's going to be a night we're going to unpack these rosters on both sides. And on possession number one, it's one of the newcomers from Missouri, Sean Phillips, with that two-hand slam. There's a whistle on this side of the floor. You just saw Kansas State's starting lineup. Again, Haggerty, number 4 in the purple. Averaged more than 20 a game last year at Memphis. That was a really good Memphis team. Hit the portal and is now playing in the Big 12 for Kansas State.
This year on the outside, with the pull from way outside. He's one of the best shooters in all of college basketball. Number 1 to transfer from Monmouth.
So, Tim, all 5 Kansas State players on the floor, they're all first-year Wildcats. Not a single one was on the roster a year ago. They very much reloaded and retooled.
Well, that's today's world, and you know what you do from one year to the next really depends on how successful you were with that previous team. And Kansas State didn't like what they had, so they went out and found a new roster, and I like this new roster. Missouri, it's not unlike what Missouri did a year ago, and you saw that success. They kept a lot of good core players from a year ago and added some good special ones as well.
Nate Johnson, last year Player of the Year at Akron and the MAC. This is that fall away for Kansas State. That's knocked down on the drive, and it stays here with Mizzou. So there is Dennis Gates' starting 5. So they bring back 3 starters from a year ago. You see Robinson and Mitchell are 2 of them. Trent Pierce not starting, dealing with a little bit of a nagging lower body injury. And filling out that starting 5, Sebastian Mack, Javon Porter, and then Phillips, who had that monster throwdown in the previous possession.
Well, Kevin, coaches have now adapted to the portal. It took a while to figure out who's going to be available, how do you go about it. But you've got to be prepared, and you can't just wait till the season ends and guys put their name in the portal. You have to kind of be ready. You have to have a database of the good players in America, and if in fact they do want to leave, you have to be ready to move quickly.
Rapique, by the way, tied up Phillips that time, and so Rapique, very physical, number 0 in the purple, forces the tie-up. Possession going back this way. That time Haggerty lost it. This is Javon Porter, got stripped, and Johnson takes it away for the Wildcats. Lead feed to Bashir. He's the marksman. Misfired that time. And it should stay here. Yeah, it was ricocheted off of Robinson's back. And so here is Jerome Tang, the 4th-year boss. Remember, his first season won Big 12 Coach of the Year. They had that sensational 26-win season, went to the Elite 8. Last couple of years have been so-so. And to your point, they do feel very confident and encouraged that the transfer haul that they brought in is perhaps a bit more talented than a year ago. They got some good guards, and Jerome Tang likes his backcourt.
Yeah, I just thought it was always my 2 daughters that brought in hauls. But now if you're a college basketball coach, you need to bring in a haul if you've had a season that you didn't like. And you know, the turnaround that Dennis Gates did a year ago is one of the most remarkable turnarounds I've seen in watching college basketball for many, many years. To go from 0-18 to the NCAA tournament is really a tribute to him and his staff and their player development. You know, they just put their head down and went out and got really good players, but also developed some good young players too for the long haul.
Yep. Robinson, one of those examples. Pierce, another. Just an epic turnaround. And so as a head coach, this being his 7th year as a head man, previously at Cleveland State, 3 times he's guided teams to the NCAA tournament. But of course, most impressively at this level, Mark Mitchell on the drive, stuck with it and went up strong.
We talked about his versatility. Clearly, a guy can play outside, inside, can play all 5 positions, can guard all 5 positions. Dennis Gates needs him to up his rebounding numbers.
Now, this is Missouri basketball, their brand. They love to get out and run. And Mark Mitchell is going to the line for one more.
Well, we're talking about his versatility, not only the ability to score around the box, to bring the ball up, to pass from the perimeter, make shots from the outside, but you see his ability just to take the ball in transition over a smaller player, and just the footwork and the ability to finish in traffic through contact.
Yeah, he's about 6'9". He's going to play the 4. Well, he looks pretty good bringing the ball up. Dennis Gates, he raves about his versatility. Looks very agile, lean here in his senior season.
He does, and Dennis talked about he's used to playing with long, lengthy players, what he did when he was an assistant for a long time at Florida State under Leonard Hamilton, and it's the way he wants to play. He wants to switch a lot on defense. They'll be able to protect the rim. They'll protect the paint. They'll put some pressure on the perimeter, and then when they do get it, get out and go.
See, Javon Porter takes a seat. If the last name rings a bell, it should. Michael Porter Jr. and Jonte, the brothers, they played here previously, and so younger bro Javon transferring into the program. So after the whistle, Kansas State inbounds it on the baseline. David Castillo off the bench, one of the very few returners from a year ago. Only 4, that's it for Kansas State.
Boateng's out there already after his excellent performance in the national anthem with the saxophone. And good job by Kansas State, just reversing the ball, got good spacing and attacking the rim.
His honor, but can he knock down the first shot after nailing the saxophone performance? That's the key here.
It's pretty impressive. Second job, he wants to wander around. He might get an NIL deal for that.
He was on key. Jacob Cruz, latter half of last season, he turned into a really productive perimeter threat. Dennis Gates wants him to rise in fire whenever he gets the chance beyond the arc this year. There's Doreen Buka, again, one of the 10 newcomers for Kansas State. First year at the program, first year in the States. Played in Italy last year. Got blocked by Boateng. Up ahead to Mack. Mack on the move. Drive. Going to the line for 2.
The big Italian, Buka, certainly has a lot of promise, but Jerome Tang's over there speaking to him about the excess dribbling.
Yeah.
At 7'2", we don't need 8 dribbles from the big fella. He's got to learn how to carve out space. The European game obviously is different with the lane being wider, and he's going to learn how to carve out that space, make a quick move, a quick decision. And one of the things the European players at first, the adjustment period, especially for a guy like Buka, who is a young player, is the level of intensity on the defensive end, the quickness, the athleticism that you wouldn't necessarily face while he's in Europe, and you saw that he struggled with that on that possession. But they like him though. He's got good promise. I think eventually he's going to be a guy that will be a nice rotation player for K-State.
Mack gets 1 out of 2 there. And Tang's got a couple of those European players that he brought over. Another one is on the floor, number 47 in the purple. It's Andre Kostic. Played the Serbian A-League a year ago. Those 2 are a couple of late adds in the summer for Tang. Here's Kostic. Way off that time. Knocked out. And it's going to stay here. So Kansas State has it. When we return, preseason ball featuring the old conference rivals. Appearance in the NCAA tournament. So for Dennis Gates, that's now 2 appearances in the Big Dance in his first 3 years in Como.
Well, Dennis Gates is a proven winner. There's no doubt about that. It's a proud program here, and the alarms were set 2 years ago when you go 0-18 in the league, but I don't think Dennis Gates wavered at all in his ability and confidence to run a program. I mean, he knows what he's doing. I think totally a one-off. You won't see that again. Because
sure.
He's understanding they've got a top recruiting class coming in for next year as well, and they'll continue to get the portal. Interesting stuff that he talked with us about today, just how he approaches his philosophy in the portal, and to take guys that have been really well coached, and he's done a good job with that. I mean, when you look at, you've got Mark Mitchell from Duke, and Sebastian Mack played for Mick Cronin, and you look at Sean Phillips played for Bobby Hurley. So he's going to take guys that are ready to be coached because they have been coached when they get here.
So you need to hear the portal philosophies for each head coach. And it moves so quickly. So for Gates and his staff, you just have to have some parameters in place. You can't try to go after everybody.
Well, that's the thing now, Kevin. These staffs are so much bigger. Most schools have 5 assistant coaches and a general manager, and there's Buka with
tap it in,
doing some work where he needs to, right by the rim with that big body. But your general manager and your staff, really, you can run it like a pro organization. You've got to have your stuff ready. And you can't just wait for guys to get into the portal. You have to be ready to identify these guys when, if and when they go into the portal.
You know, there is a level of retention, too, for this Missouri team. They brought back 7 players plus 3 starters. If you caught that nugget on the graphic, they bring back 43% of their scoring. That leads all SEC teams. Floater in the paint. That one does fall. C.J. Jones, he was one of Jerome Tang's key reserves a year ago, comes back. 3 in the air. Porter can't hit it, or rather Jaden Stone. Castillo down with it.
I think that this team is going to be built to score a little bit more than they did last year. When they did struggle, they went through big scoring droughts. I mean, Jerome's teams always play good defense, but the ability to knock down shots is going to be so important, as you see right there from Moby.
Ike Garuke, second-year Wildcat, expected to take a step forward this year. Whistle on this side of the floor. So Kansas State is...
I've been to Galway, Kevin, but I didn't see any basketball courts when I was over there. I just
golf
saw
country?
a lot of golf courses, and I wanted to stay longer, but find some hoopers over there as well.
Are you saying we need to find out Moby's handicap, perhaps?
I think he's looking for him to improve. Gave him some decent minutes. He's pretty physical defensively. He's improved his skill level as well.
Connor Boateng at the line for Missouri. So there is Castillo. Again, the returners for Kansas State, Castillo and Jones, they were rotation players. They came off the bench largely. Ike Garuke should take a step forward. And then Taj Manning, kind of a program vet, is the other that returns.
You know, interesting talking to both coaches today. Earlier in the day, they're talking about, well, we're going to play everybody probably about 20 minutes. We're going to look at different rotations, different lineups, and they have stuff in their mind that they want to do, but it's interesting to see as we get into the second half, I think the competitive juices will flow a little bit more for not only the players, but the coaches as well, because you mentioned it, the season is coming. So you got to try to see what you have out there and maybe perfect a couple lineups and see what lineups work best.
10 days away. November 3rd is opening night. Porter wants 3. Way off that time. You mentioned the competitive juices. I think we've seen some amped up moments. Players are getting their bearings here. Again, first time against a different jersey, a different team on the floor in the lead up to the start of the year.
It's good for the coaches, too, to stand over there and bark at their guys a little bit. Talk to the refs. Turn the lights on. Jerome Tang today, they were working on their timeout huddles, how they sit during timeouts. All those things are so important because you got to have everything buttoned up for November 3rd. And finally, the NCAA took them a while, but then they've made these games legal to play. It used to be you had to play it for a charity, which was good. But now, I mean, you want these games. You saw Louisville and Kansas earlier today, Purdue and Kentucky, UConn playing Michigan State. And there's, as Jerome Tang calls him, Guy Bashir, the best shooter in the country, according to Jerome Tang.
You were waiting for him to knock one down. Kansas State by 4 in the first. And so our Friday night coverage, it continues in Columbia, Missouri. Welcome to Mizzou Arena with the former Providence head man, Tim Welsh, Kevin Fitzgerald with you. Preseason hoops, 10 days from opening night. And we got the old conference rivals going head-to-head, Kansas State and Missouri. They're battling tonight. in a preseason tilt. You missed the first 7 minutes of this one. Just getting started. Kansas State by 4. A rejection that time from Anthony Robinson. Smothered the shot attempt. Kansas State stays with it. And Nate Johnson hammers it down.
Both teams really playing at a fast pace right now with a lot of intensity defensively. And, you know, you call it preseason, exhibition, whatever you want. But when these lights go on, these guys are going to play at a higher level than they have in practice. They're so anxious to get out there and play a different team. And both coaches talked about how important the breakdown of the film will be after they play this game time. Not necessarily winning or losing, but I have a feeling that there's no doubt both these coaches, as we get into the second half, will be playing this game to win for sure.
Incredibly valuable a night like this is for both programs in the lead up to the season. How about Robinson, the body control going up that time? One of the key returners from a 20-win season a year ago for Mizzou. And here is more of that defensive intensity. The latest from Sebastian Mack, the first-year Tiger. Swatted that one out of bounds.
There's a little Mick Cronin influence turned into Dennis Gates protecting the rim, and that's what he talked about with all this length. You know, we want to block a lot of shots. We want to force the outside the paint and put a lot of pressure on the perimeter, and then give help and then recover with our length.
Boy, right there again, several examples here in this sequence.
You know, it's one thing, Kevin, to have length, but you have to use it. You have to use it properly. You know, if you're playing a soft defense and you're not aggressive, you don't get in the passing lanes, you don't get up on the basketball and trace it and force to different spots on the floor that you want to push the ball to, then it's pretty much wasted. But Dennis Gates is a proven defensive coach, and he knows what he has out there, and he's going to play a lot of guys. He's going to play a lot of bigs together as well.
Both teams, they've got roster sizes of 14. We would expect to see just about everybody today. Anthony Robinson, the reliable point guard, gets his man in the air, and he connects. Nice move from Anthony Robinson, the junior from Tallahassee.
9 points a game a year ago. We know about his defense, but those numbers offensively will go up. It's because of the fact he's going to play close to 30 minutes a game. Last year he played about 23.
Missouri turning them over now. Bounce pass on her Boateng. Count it! And a foul.
Well, why not? He gets a little love from the team. He got a little bit more love, not from the N1, but from that sax performance pregame.
He performs the national anthem, and he's performing on the court. He'll be at the line, Tim, for one more when we return. Robinson with the big-time J at the line. Boateng can do it all, musically and basketball.
Multi-talented.
You're loving a day like today. We're 10 days from the start of the college basketball season, and here is the latest really quality preseason battle. You got the old conference foes from back in the Big 12 days, Big 8 days, Missouri and Kansas State. So Dennis Gates' Tigers last year, they won 22 games. They had some big wins. They went back to the NCAA tournament. Fast forward to this year, brought back several key starters, not the least of which Mark Mitchell, Anthony Robinson, of course Trent Pierce as well. Also brought in 5 impact transfers. And when you look at the type of retention, brought back about 50% of their points just about from a year ago. That's actually the most of the SEC. So Gates and this staff, they feel very encouraged and optimistic about the formula this year after the tournament season.
Well, they got a great taste last year, and when you get a taste but not enough, you want more. And you want to play for a guy like Dennis Gates because obviously he's a really good coach and a guy the players love playing for, but they believe in him because if you can't believe it from a guy that had the season 2 years ago and then bounce back to what he did a year ago, then you've got a problem. But he understands that they wanted to bring back their core and they wanted to add, and guys like Phillips and Mack, really good additions that came from good solid programs that were well coached and fit into his system, which is defense first.
It's interesting to hear Dennis talk about his philosophies, portal philosophies in the offseason. didn't have to completely overhaul the roster. You mentioned it before. He was looking for players that came from programs that were coached by guys that he trusted and had won. Missouri on a 7-0 run. And so they got the 1-point edge here. Coming up on the midway mark of this first half. David Castillo with the shot clock winding down. Castillo forced to give it up. Jones, the heave, way off, and that's a shot clock violation. So another impressive defensive sequence there from Mizzou.
It is, and the other piece of the portal that Dennis emphasized to us, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but if you stay in close contact with the people around your program, the people that you have recruited, sometimes you get them on the rebound, right, and more than ever. And I think obviously he and his staff have done a good job with that, building relationships around the country, because they've just done a tremendous job of recruiting.
If you miss him out of high school, you might see that name pop up again some point down the road. And right there, that's the guy we're talking about. So Sebastian Mack, first-year Tiger, the ex-Bruin, last couple of years at UCLA. Dennis recruited him hard out of high school. And then after a couple of productive years at UCLA, Mack was looking for a change. Here he is. You would think a likely starter for Gates' team this year. Here is Mitchell, all-conference season a year ago. What sort of a step forward will he take in his senior year? Was off the mark that time.
Looks to be pretty aggressive, looking for a shot, which is a good sign for Missouri, because he can score from a lot of different spots on the floor.
Andre Kostic, one of the 10 newcomers for Kansas State, has to give it over to Castillo. Back to Kostic. Contested three, offline. It's got a whistle, and it's a loose ball foul. That time it should go against Robinson. So ball will stay here with Kansas State. So Wildcats, again, Jerome Tang and his staff. This is the beauty of an opportunity, a game like tonight. Get to see your rotation in action.
Yeah, I like what Kansas State has brought in. It's fitting well together. They move the ball, they share it. They're attacking quickly. Their secondary offense, they're looking to reverse the ball and then really push it hard to the rim. And if it's not there, to drive and kick. Obviously, they've got to find guys that can shoot the ball, and it starts with Bashir for sure.
That's Abdi Bashir, number 1 in the purple. He's on the bench right now. That three is offline. So Kansas State, a little less than 40% from the floor on the run out. Robinson, count it. Anthony Robinson going to the line for one more. It's a 9-0 Mizzou run.
Now, if you're going to give an over the top, don't compound the problem by now giving a little shove. I mean, if you're gonna foul someone, foul.
Yeah.
Hit him right across the, pop him across the arm, and don't let him get into a shot motion. And that time you just see the explosiveness of Robinson in transition, and just the great feel for where the ball comes off the rim and how he can get ahead of the defense.
I think the difference in these two rosters tonight, Mizzou definitely has a few more experienced returners coming back. They have 3 starters back. Castillo, who misfired that time, he's one of the more important returns for K-State. He's a rotation guy off the bench last year, expected to take on a larger role. Phillips tracks it down. Robinson, yeah, for 3.
Well, the other piece of that, and we see Robinson is going to be much more aggressive offensively as well this year, but the other piece of that, Kevin, is that when you bring back guys that have won, they can establish themselves with the newcomers right away. Here's how we do things here. This is how it works, and it has worked in the toughest conference in college basketball. Where K-State, these guys are, you've got a winning coach,
yep,
but you haven't won as a group before, so that will take a little bit more time to develop.
Both of these teams are projected to finish, around the middle of the pack in their leagues. Boateng can't hit. Robinson, boy, Anthony Robinson having a heck of a sequence here. He's been on a rampage of late. this run has extended to a 14-0 run. And Robinson leads the way with 11 now for the Tigers.
He's doing it all. We talked about his on-ball defense, but just his aggressiveness on both ends of the floor. He'll trigger the fast break. He can get out in transition, deal it to others, but also not afraid to go in there and get to the rim, draw a foul, or just finish in traffic.
He's 5 of 5 from the floor. Hit the 3 previously. He's doing it really all over the court.
Well, trust me, Kevin, you sleep better at night as a coach if your point guard is coming back, and a winning point guard, and coming back, and a guy that, number one, wants to run the team. Number two, is going to defend on every possession, but also looking for his own shot. Not forcing the issue, but under control.
I think the projection from this staff was, could Robinson be a guy that scores 10, 15 points per game for us? They lost a couple of key top scorers from a year ago, like Tamar Bates and Caleb Grill. And so far, in a game where you're facing evenly matched competition, yeah, Robinson's off to a good start. This is what's neat about a night like today. Preseason ball, 10 days from opening night. Rapique, that's good.
They like Rapique. Big size, got good hands, good footwork on the interior. They need somebody like him.
Oh, T.O. Barrett, aggressive attack. That's a sophomore from Oklahoma City.
Barrett has the experience as well, trying to get into that rotation. I'm sure he will give them some good guard depth, along with Jaden Stone, who can really score.
So back on the floor now for Kansas State, number 4. That's P.J. Haggerty, the All-American a year ago at Memphis. Misfired from 15. Boy, Phillips just going to work on the big man that time.
Sean Phillips played in the Big 12 a year ago at Arizona State. Both games had double-doubles against K-State.
Oh, Rapique buries the 3. And Dennis Gates calls timeout. 7:37 to go in this preseason tilt. Missouri's up 7. All, everybody was anxious, excited to see what the first moments of this game would look like. Missouri's got the 7-point edge. They've been on a rampage of late.
Well, it's amazing. The SEC, you think about it, maybe 10 years ago, it was Kentucky, and everybody else would have their seasons here and there. And Alabama has emerged, Tennessee's emerged. They've hired some great coaches. We saw what Florida did a year ago. But in football, same deal. I mean, you got Missouri and Vandy. Game day tomorrow. You've got Texas A&M is good. LSU is tremendous. I mean, the football part of it used to be Georgia and Alabama. Now it's join the party. Don't get left behind. Ole Miss.
It's a gauntlet in any sport. Any and all.
Well, the commitment's there. The commitment to facilities, to hiring really good coaches, to now to backing your program with tremendous NIL support, resources, and that's the one thing the SEC really has done well in basketball is facilities and hiring great coaches.
Well, you saw the foul there on on that side of the floor, so Kansas State to inbound. We have our updated foul provision tonight. What is it? Each player's getting 7 today. Neither coach wants to run into a situation where you have to sit a guy down because he picked up 2 fouls in the first half. So it makes sense for a game like tonight.
It does, but as a coach, I think these guys will take a different look at that as you get towards that number. That means you're not playing very good defense. If you've got 5, 6 fouls, that means what are you doing? That means you should probably be sitting anyway.
Yep.
But at least in theory, it's good because you don't want guys fouling out.
Kansas State could have used that one. That was an open look for P.J. Haggerty. The All-American last year at Memphis, was a very highly coveted recruit in the portal this offseason. Chose Kansas State. He's got another year of eligibility after this year. Just misfired that time. So back on this end of the floor.
I do remember the days of the Big East where he tried 6 fouls in conference games for 1 year. A lot of blood left on the floor. Didn't really work out well.
There was already a lot of blood with 5 fouls in that league.
Exactly. They didn't need an extra one.
That's a foul, by the way, on the drive in. And so we'll have 2 shots. Well, it was a year ago. Remember, the SEC gets 14 teams in the tournament, breaks the Big East Soul record of 11. And it appears very much like it has been the last couple of years. Maybe the 2 strongest leagues in college basketball are the 2 respective leagues of these 2 teams.
Well, they're not going anywhere, that's for sure. These two conferences, obviously, Bruce Pearl leading Auburn is a big blow to the league. But Stephen, I'm sure, will do a tremendous job. He's been right next to a great coach his whole life, so I'm sure he paid attention. He wouldn't have the job if he wasn't ready for it. So I'm sure they won't skip a beat. And his dad will still have a couple early coffees with him if needed.
Yeah. Kamari McGriff, by the way, with the hammer. He's going to go to the line and complete the 3-point play.
And McGriff is a guy that UNC Wilmington, he did a good job there, and he's also moved well without the ball. 6'9", 230.
One of the 10 newcomers. He got the start tonight, along with guys like Haggerty and Nate Johnson, Abdi Bashir, some of the other really highly touted transfer players.
PJ Haggerty talks about his scoring, but he's an excellent passer. He's very unselfish. He's going to run the team, make sure everybody's involved.
A game like this, Tim, so important, especially if you want to call it in this era. Kansas State, 10 new players. So it's much more beneficial to play evenly matched competition in the lead up to opening night.
I think you could have done this and got away with it in the old days because of the fact that the first time you're going to gather your team together is October 15th, and then you're going to practice for 5 weeks, and then you're going to play it for real. But now you can practice all summer. You got the 4 hours a week. You start earlier in September now with practice, so these teams have more opportunity to get to know each other, and they need it. They absolutely need it. It's hard as a coach to know what you have. You know what you have individually, but how are they going to mesh when the lights go on?
That was Jaden Stone at the line. One of the first-year Tigers, his first points. Haggerty gets to the rim. You see how clever he is on the move to the rack.
Makes that look real easy, Kevin. Just finds that gap, not a lot of wasted motion, and just tremendous footwork at the rim.
Extra pass to Stone. He wants it. Stone connects.
Some guys are born to score. That's Jaden Stone. This guy can score, and it doesn't matter what level. He's at West Virginia a year ago. Didn't play because of a concussion, but he 21 a game at Detroit, and you see what he can do. And here's Haggerty just trying to force him to his left a little bit, but he just finds that little angle, and Stone doesn't need a lot of room. Quick trigger.
You nailed it. 21 a game 2 years ago, and he was a very prolific three-point shooter. And that is his game.
You can see him. He's ready. He is locked and loaded over there on that wing. He doesn't need a lot of room, but he's got that perfect form. Catches it, not a lot of wasted motion.
So meanwhile, after the foul on Stone, Nate Johnson was at the line, and front rim's the first of possibly 2. So it's Missouri by 8. T.O. Barrett, little spin, leave it for Phillips, and he fumbled it. He will stay here with Missouri, but boy, there was about to be another explosion at the rim. That's the 7-footer Sean Phillips, who has been impactful on the interior so far.
Right, another guy with experience, obviously Big 12 experience. That's the other thing. You don't know if you take a player from a level that's below the Big 12 or the SEC. You think and you hope they can play, but you don't always know how they're going to react to the highest level of competition.
There's a turnover, and Haggerty takes it all the way.
Haggerty's well-traveled, but experienced at a high level.
Yes, fourth year, fourth different school. He's been darn good wherever the heck he's been, and regardless of the level. Missouri with another close-range make. Bashir, all the space in the world. Could not hit it, knocked away by Stone.
4 schools in 4 years. Think of all the friends you have. I'm kind of jealous. I don't have that many friends from college. You've got 4 years. A big Rolodex, as they would say back in the day.
We'll do it again at the start of every year. Is there a foul? There is. So that was Aaron Rowe, the freshman from right here in Columbia. So he'll be at the line for 3. Aaron Rowe going through his freshman orientation, or has already at this point.
A local product. Obviously, they like him. See his quickness. Get on that. Get in the weight room, which will be so important in this conference.
So while we have a moment every Saturday, Marty and McGee, the SEC Nation crew, they get you ready for all the action on the gridiron. Game previews, the latest news from around the conference. So tomorrow they're in Norman, starting at 9 a.m., 8 Central. Both of those shows right here on the network. Oklahoma faces Ole Miss at noon Eastern tomorrow. Yeah, so Rowe goes to high school, Father Tolton Catholic, about 10 minutes down the road. Got a couple of Columbia guys on both sides. And there's Rowe, top 100 ranked player, 4-star. Sits down. So on this end, Ike Garuke. It's a close range look.
The pick and slip there. Good job by Haggerty, though. You can see this brings out so much to the table. Number one being a guy that has real good basketball IQ.
He's got 3 assists in this first half to go along with the 7 points. That one's out of bounds. And so Kansas State takes over with 3:47 to go on the first in Columbia.
Yeah, I mean, born to score. We talked about Jaden Stone for Missouri, but PJ Haggerty is done it at the highest level. We saw him a year ago at Memphis, and Jerome Tank just smiles and smiles. I mean, sometimes you get a guy like that, you bring in a high-level scorer, and he just tries to do whatever he can do to get his numbers up and get to the next level. But PJ Haggerty's not that type of player. He's going to run the team. He's going to pass. We've seen he's got 3 assists already tonight. Good, solid on-ball defender. They can move him off the ball if they want, but he's going to play he played about 37 minutes a game for Memphis last year. I would think he'll get close to that this year because he's that important and he's that good.
Yeah.
And that needed for K-State, and he'll make everybody around. When you look at the lineup, you might say, well, where are they going to get other points? Well, he will make other people better. Guys you might not even think that could get double figures will because of him.
That's the one area perhaps of growth, if you want to call it that, for Kansas State. Look at some of the offensive numbers from a year ago. They were so-so at times, especially once they got into the gauntlet that is Big 12 play. Went 16-17 a year ago. They're trying to rise back into the upper echelon of the league, just like in Jerome Tang's first season when they won 26 games.
Yeah, you watched them last year, and it was more about Jerome Tang's fire than talent. The pieces always didn't fit well together. They didn't have enough scoring, but he willed them to a lot of wins, which is his identity as a coach. He's a fiery coach. Players love playing for him, and they've got a great home court in Manhattan, and I think they're going to take a step this year. They're going to take a step. And, you need to get better because the fact that the league is so good. The league is tremendous, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. And Houston is now carved out a spot at the top of the league every year. Now BYU is in the mix as well. Arizona, now that they're in the league for their second year, they figured out now the hardest thing sometimes, Kevin, is the first year in the league, just the travel, the new arenas, the new venues, and getting used to the competition and the style of play.
This new era of Big 12 basketball. By the way, there's the aforementioned Elias Rapik, the junior from Berlin. First year with the program. Last year, of course, played overseas. He has gotten a lot of minutes in this first half.
And by the way, Kansas is picked 6th, I believe, in the league. Some maybe by the coaches. I don't know. There's so many polls these days. They're hard to keep track of. I don't pay that much attention to them, but I would not venture to guess that Kansas would finish 6th. But stranger things, they look pretty good tonight. When they played Louisville.
Yes, they did. They won earlier. This really fun night for all of the hoop heads that are dying for this season to get going. Remember, opening night's 10 days away. We have had some really quality, just power conference against power conference team matchups today. Kansas, Louisville, and then before us earlier on the network, Kentucky, Purdue.
You know, Kevin, we all love college football, and rightfully so, and we're going to watch it all day tomorrow. And there's a good shot by Cruz. He really can light it up from the corner as well. But you know, the thing in the past is that, well, college basketball doesn't get started until January. Well, they've done a better job, programs and the networks, ESPN as well, and SEC network, of putting together better matchups early in the season. And this is another good step to build interest in the game.
Paul Robinson was just clowning on the rookie that time, Kostic. So Anthony Robinson now with 13. That was a long 2. He is 6 for 6 from the floor. Missouri extends its lead to 12. Baseline drive and kick out to Kostic. Passes up on the 3. Good closeout. Lob it up. Ike Garuke could not convert it.
Ike Garuke, he's got to come down with that. He's a little too far to try to lob, but come back the other way. You better get back and get your defense set, because here comes Missouri. Makes, misses, turnovers. They are attacking.
You talked about football season. It's a running back just lower the shoulder right there. This is Haggerty trying to turn the corner. P.J. Haggerty draws the foul. Robinson went tumbling.
We talked about
Mizzou lead. Yeah, it grows.
Jaden Stone being ready to lock and load, and now Jacob Cruz, another guy, just had his feet set and ready to go. And that's what Dennis Gates talked about. We've got a lot of guys that can make shots, and we're not going to rely on one guy to make a lot of threes every night. We're going to have good balance, because we have a lot of options out there, guys that are confident that can space the court and knock down shots.
And those two are going to be front and center in that department. Cruz and Stone, they know their roles. And then we have not seen Trent Pierce tonight, but he is a very capable outside shooter, one of the 3 returning starters. There he is. And he was kind of iffy whether or not he was even going to go today. You see him, he's just in the Missouri sweatshirt dealing with a lingering lower body injury. So the only players not available tonight for Mizzou, Pierce, and then the redshirt freshman Trent Burns, who didn't play last year.
Here's another guy at 6'10", that can make shots from the perimeter, and also a very skilled passer for a big as well, and just another guy that Dennis Gates can put in there to protect the rim, be aggressive.
Cruz straight on 3. Kansas State clears it. Bashir with his eyes up. Abdi Bashir, no. Kansas State just 3 of 13 from distance. Nate Johnson cleans it up. Trying to get it back to single digits here. 90 seconds to go in this first half. And Tim, this has been a intense, exciting, this has been a highly competitive first half. And that should stay here.
Well, this is what coaches talk about, the importance of playing these type of games. And you saw it earlier, Purdue, Kentucky, Louisville, Kansas. I mean, it's different than these secret scrimmages. The guys are excited. The lights are on. It's on television. They're in a big time. They're playing a big time competition. It's the real deal. It feels real to these players, that's for sure.
A legitimate crowd too on a Friday night here in Columbia for this type of a game, if you want to put it that way. On the shot attempt that time, that's a foul on Ike Garuke, junior from Ireland. So that sends Anthony Robinson to the line. Robinson continues to feast. He's got 13, hasn't missed. And he's got Missouri here close to 50 points in the first half.
When you watch Anthony Robinson play, he plays at a pace that's frenetic, 100 miles an hour, but it's under control. You know, he seems to have a purpose to what he wants to do on almost every possession. You know, he's going to make the right pass. He's going to find the angles. He's going to run the team, space the floor. You know he's going to defend, but looking for his own shot a lot tonight, and he looks pretty good at doing it.
Yeah, just his making the right decisions, and that seems to be that's the obvious goal for Robinson this year. Very much was an offensive initiator last season in his breakout sophomore year. Dennis Gates and this staff, they want him to look for his shot. Could he score 15 a game this year for Missouri? They want that.
I don't see why not. He played about 23 minutes a game a year ago. He's going to get up over 30 this year, so that natural minute increase. Plus, you can see he's really worked on his offensive game.
Haggerty, meanwhile, going to the line, hit the floor hard. That was Phillips who fouled him on the way up.
He just split that trap at the top, or soft double. Double him, you better force him to the side. And now Missouri's tried to double him on a few occasions, and he just keeps his dribble. He widens it out, then he finds an angle, he tacks one of the defenders, and then away we go.
Really skilled redshirt junior from Crosby, Texas. Quite the journey to where he is now at Kansas State. Mark Mitchell back on the floor. And there's one of the freshmen, Nick Randall, having a word with Gates. It's Missouri by 11, a minute left in this preseason battle between the old conference foes. Throw it back. First time they met was 1906. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Well, it's good. Missouri playing K-State in this game tonight, and we know familiar friends, Dennis Gates and Jerome Tang. They've been friends for a long time, and it's good to see guys connecting with each other to help both programs. And you know, Missouri started the 6-year deal, now playing KU again. They'll play in Kansas City this season, which is great for college basketball. Those two have reunited that rivalry.
So Haggerty does get the job done at the line. 10-point game. Missouri, by the way, Tim, how about 62% shooting in this first half?
Their offense, it's fast and furious, but it is under control, and it's with a purpose. You know, they're going to reverse the floor, they're going to run their stuff, and then try to quickly attack as the ball's reversed.
Mitchell holding it out to Luke Norweather. Bounce it down to Cruz. 5 seconds to shoot now. So Missouri frenzied. Cruz improvising and hit the rim. Shot clock reset. Mitchell down hard. So Mark Mitchell in some discomfort after he went up there to try to put it back in. And he is rotating his, looks like the left wrist, trying to stretch it out. 30 seconds to go in the first.
That's good recognition by Cruz that the shot clock was expiring, and then here comes Mitchell.
Oh, and you saw how, look at the left arm. On the way down, he tries to brace his fall. Just landed right on it.
He's doing what the coach wants, though. He had 4 rebounds a game a year ago, and 4.5, almost 5. And Dennis Gates wants to try to get him up to 7. You see him attacking the offensive glass.
So Mitchell finally sits down at the end of the bench. He's grabbing that left wrist. He's stretching it out. Meanwhile, here's Haggerty. 8 seconds on the timer. Haggerty to the rim, throws it up, count it. And the foul for P.J. Haggerty.
So hard to defend, because the ability to be under control, going with both hands, he kind of initiates the contact, and Barrett did a pretty good job on him, but He's got such great body control at the rim. You gotta respect his three. He shot 39% a year ago, so you've got to get out and pressure him on the perimeter. And when you do, try to force him to that offhand, he'll take it and go either way. He seems to like the left a little bit better.
Yeah, he has. He's made a couple of crafty moves there down the left side of the lane. He has 12, and so it looks like we're gonna take a peek at this last sequence. So Dennis Gates, Lucas Santos, one of our officials, by the way, just came over to explain. So, Tim, we were talking about earlier today, new to the game this year, the implementation of the coach's challenge. At the start of every game, you get one coach's challenge. If you were to, if you win your challenge, you would get another challenge for the remainder of the game. And so what Dennis Gates is appealing here is that there was flagrant contact, a flagrant foul during that prior sequence. I'm assuming, was that when Haggerty swung his elbow on the way in?
I believe so. I mean, it looks like they're looking at it over there on the sideline with the old iPad, which he got him right above the shoulders. Dennis Gates, you know, that's the other piece of that, Kevin, is this, you know, who knows if he would have done this if this was in the regular season, although this Gates had a good angle, and T.O. Barrett gets one right in the chin area. Obviously inadvertent, but still there is contact above the shoulder, so they're going to take a look at this.
The question is, does it rise to the level of upgrading it to a flagrant? And so it does look like there's Pat Adams over there. Our officials, they have deemed that was just a basketball move. So an unsuccessful challenge, and Missouri loses a timeout here. And you can see Dennis pleading his case after the
challenge as well. And, you know, this is, and we were about to say before the officials came over, is that that's another good piece of playing a game like this. Is with new rules, you get to see maybe what you would like to challenge, where in the game you must challenge. I mean, there's an art of that, and the coaches aren't used to this yet. So, do you want to save your challenge till later in the game? You know, but Dennis saw this right there, and he's got one of their better players. And I think in a real game, that's a good challenge, because obviously a guy like Haggerty, you'd want to get him to have another foul.
Well, with 3 seconds after the miss, this is Mack behind the back. 1 second, Mack floats it up, missed it. And Missouri takes a 47-39 lead into the half. Anthony Robinson led the way with 14. He was perfect from the floor, went 6 of 6. Let's go to the studio now. Here's Dari Noka in Charlotte.
And P.J. Haggerty, you know what he can do as well, but how do you fit into a new system, a new team, a new environment? And so far, so good for both of these young guards.
That's a lot of points of that first half. Missouri as a team, by the way, shot 59% from the floor. We told you right off the top how they were one of the more prolific offenses in the nation a year ago, and they averaged about 85 points per game. They won 22 games. Kansas State, I want to see how much that offense can improve from a fluidity standpoint, a consistency standpoint. You nailed it. Adding Haggerty is critical. And Tim, you nailed it. You were all over it before that. He's going to get other shots as well. So the second half starts. Glad you're with us. Late night hoops, by the way, in Columbia with Tim Welsh, Kevin Fitzgerald with you. 3-pointer is off the mark. Kansas State looking for a better start.
Never too late, Kevin, for a little SEC Big 12, yeah. Especially before the month of November. This is bonus basketball, and it's a great idea by ESPN to broadcast what a night we had with Purdue and Kentucky, and Louisville, Kansas, and just see a little appetite for what's coming down the road.
Phillips cleaning up the boards. This is the 7-footer. Oh, Phillips showing his nimble footwork underneath. Somehow winds up with it again. This time he's not going to lose the opportunity.
Well, Sean Phillips is a guy that you're going to have to watch this year. And Mark Mitchell not out there on the floor. He got banged up in the first half. He had a pretty good hard fall, so we'll see how they handle that. But Sean Phillips, I think it's important for him to get some major minutes in a game like this because of the fact he is experienced, but find out where he's going to get his shots in this offense. He's not a guy that they're going to throw the ball to on a lot of occasions, but you can see he can be very physically dominant at the rim.
6 and 6 for Phillips today. Johnson just hit the 3 for Kansas State. Then meanwhile, Sebastian Mack leaves that triple short. So here comes Nate Johnson again. Well, he can score it. Player of the year in the MAC a year ago. Missed it off to the left. So Kansas State trying to tighten this one up. The latter half of that first half. Oh, there's Phillips. Long thread. There is the danger of Phillips looming underneath. Now he's got 8.
Well, Dorian Buch's got to understand that he's got to body up on guys like Phillips early and often. He can't just let him freeway his way to the rim and rim run. He's got to try to body him up before he gets into the paint.
Stays here with Kansas State. Bucha, by the way, is one of the 10 newcomers.
This is Sean Phillips just powering his way through the young man. And this, again, there's Bucha not staying connected to Phillips, and he'll learn how to do that. This is one of the things we talked about as far as the coaches understanding and being able to take that film, and they'll show Bucha that film right there, that when you play against a guy like Phillips, which they'll play against a lot of those in the Big 12, you better body him up soon.
He's got the cut over his left. That's a cut me mix spot right there.
Yeah.
Took some blows in that first half, perhaps. Here's a run out. Sebastian Mack on the breakaway. Missouri back in front by double digits again. And they have led by a good margin at this point since about the midway mark of the first. Ike Garuke got it to go.
Ike Garuke looks like he's a lot more confident as a scorer in the lane.
That's number 14 in the purple. Haggerty got it taken away by Mack. Sebastian Mack. Oh, goes in strong and finishes.
Well, we haven't talked a lot about Sebastian Mack because Anthony Robinson has dominated, but that is a really good backcourt defensively first and foremost. But Mack scored 10 points a game for a very good UCLA team a year ago and played major minutes for them, but going back to Missouri.
And then Porter knocks down the triple. Javon Porter splashes his first bucket of the evening.
Another one of those bigs that Dennis Gates talked about that can stretch the floor. He said, we're going to still shoot a lot of threes, but from different spots and from different positions than a year ago. It's not so guard heavy. We're going to have our forwards and our bigs have the ability to step out and shoot as well.
And then Castillo answers with the corner 3, the sophomore from Oklahoma. He's got it back to 9. Boy, it's a faster pace start to this second half. Bucha shaking out that left shoulder after the whistle, so that foul is on Haggerty. So Honor Boateng is at the line to shoot 2. You know, we mentioned before the Honor Boateng, sophomore from Little Rock, athletically refined, also musically refined. He played the national anthem on the Sax pregame, by the way.
Reading the music and everything.
That is neat. He got mobbed by his teammates, by the way, after the performance. He's a modern. Remember Jerry Stackhouse did that during his playing days in the NBA. He sang the anthem a couple of times, then played.
Saw the new general manager of Missouri basketball, Tim Fuller, at halftime. I could see his brain working. Maybe we could get an NIL deal or something. Perform on one of those late night shows or something.
Gonna start his own brass band. Or was that a woodwind? Sometimes I get it mixed up here. That one falls. Okay, it is a woodwind.
Now PJ Haggerty probably right now is a little too unselfish.
Well, there's a block at the rim. Kansas State on the run out. Johnson driving kick. Haggerty gets Norweather flying and buries it. Kansas State back within 2 scores.
Well, you see the ability. Haggerty played the point tonight and done a great job of getting everyone involved in his scoring when he has to, but you can see he can slide out to that wing area and knock down shots as well.
Intense start to the second half. This is fun. Good to see these two teams again in the preseason. You're battling against one another for months. And shortly before the season, it's not just against the Division II team down the road. This is evenly matched competition. Haggerty, not that time. Norweather with the strong two-hand board. Missouri into the front court very quickly. Stone is calling for it. Here's Jaden Stone. And another for the marksman. He's got 10.
Another guy that can just lock and load. We talked about that in the first half. He is ready to pull the trigger at any moment. Doesn't need a lot of room. He's ready to go, and Missouri doing a good job of finding the open man quickly, and guys aren't holding on to the basketball. They move it from side to side at a good pace.
Johnson left wide open. That's a big knockdown. So they are trading buckets on either end of the floor. Both teams shooting very well to start.
Well, Nate Johnson, Abdi Bashir, and also PJ Haggerty gives Jerome Tang 3 really good offensive players that they didn't have a year ago, and that was really their Achilles heel at times. They go through big scoring droughts.
Six-point game. 13:35 on the clock in the second. Porter slips to the basket and a costly turnover. Kansas State has had a bit of the upper hand the last few minutes here. They're trying to trim the deficit, and Haggerty draws the foul. So that takes us to a timeout. These two teams, they are playing some high-level ball here in the early minutes of the second.
Fast-paced basketball. It's not a slugfest. It's a lot of good offensive players on both ends, including this guy, PJ Haggerty, can light it up. Different style. But one thing I like about Missouri is that they're aggressive defensively, but they don't gamble. They're always in good, solid position away from the ball. They move on the pass, not on the catch, and their principles are very, very organized on the defensive end. They know what they're doing. They've attacked Haggerty when they had to on the pick and roll at the top, and that soft double, they've iced him at times. They've changed up their coverages, and the mark of a team that knows what they're doing, because they can make in-game adjustments according to how the flow of the game is going.
You know, Tim, last year, a staple of Dennis Gates' teams, attacking aggressive defenses. They were top 10 in the nation a year ago in steals. Remember Gates' time working for Leonard Hamilton down at Florida State during that really, really good era. About 5-10 years ago down in Tallahassee, they were known for that style of defense.
Well, Leonard Hamilton's a Hall of Fame coach in my eyes, and his teams always made you work for everything you got. They were just tremendous rebounders as well. They never were out of position, and that's where Dennis learned his way. And he's proud of his time there, and he learned his lessons well. I mean, one thing, you can work for a great coach, but if you don't pay attention to what he's doing and understand the philosophy, it doesn't do you any good. And Dennis certainly has learned his lessons well, and also clearly proven his way as a head coach in his time here and at Cleveland State.
8 years in Tallahassee, and that's after or before he got his first head coaching job at Cleveland State. 3 successful years there. And the good times keep rolling here in Columbia.
Yeah, Kevin, he talked about it today, and he and Jerome Tang are very similar in their past. I mean, they spent a long time before they got their first opportunity, and they both worked for great guys and tremendous programs. And then when they got their chance, they were ready. This Jerome, everyone knows, was Scott Drew at Baylor, and Scott's got a tremendous coaching tree as well.
It's actually astounding. We were going through some of the names earlier today. Tang, of course, was on that staff, a staff that won the national championship a few years ago. Was hired at Kansas State March of 2022. Matter of fact, the 2 bosses that we talked about, they got their respective jobs 1 day apart from one another. Both of them are in their 4th seasons at their respective programs. And the question for Kansas State, again, they finished 1 game under 500 a year ago. They were in the bottom half of the Big 12. You know, what's that step forward look like?
Well, it's not like they were 6-14 in the league. They were 9-11. So I mean, they proved they had their winning moments, and there's just really good offense. And Sean Phillips, the ability to deliver the ball on that little back cut makes him dangerous as well. And K-State's got to make that next move. You've got to find their identity besides P.J. Haggerty. And we talked about Bashir. We talked about Johnson. You know, are they going to be able to get enough scoring? But they're playing faster. I like the way they're playing.
Well, Phillips was left underneath, had a little mismatch, and he converts. So Sean Phillips Jr., the senior from Dayton, now has 10. It's a 10-point game again. It does seem like the roster is a bit more dynamic, and Tang and the staff, they're optimistic about and excited about the backcourt that they have assembled. So that whistle takes us to a timeout. 10-point game with 11:46 to go. Season in 10 days. They go to Washington, D.C. They'll play Howard. They'll spend a couple of days in our nation's capital. Kansas State opens up the day after that against UNC Greensboro. So tonight, in this very unique battle, a couple of old rivals that have played a whole bunch of games over the years. Missouri has shot the ball very consistently all night, better than 55% from the floor. Anthony Robinson leads the way with 14 for the Tigers. P.J. Haggerty displaying all of the abilities. Last year, the All-American at Memphis has got 17 and 5 assists to go along with it.
Well, when you're coming into these type games, you want your elite guys to make sure they're elite. They're stepping up and they're ready for the moment, because everyone else will follow behind, and that's what Haggerty and Robinson have done. But obviously there's a concern for Missouri. We don't know exactly. We know he fell pretty hard. That's Mark Mitchell on his wrist, but won't speculate to that. Just hopefully he's keeping the swelling down and he'll be okay. They've clearly got a lot of depth up front. Pierce has not played tonight. Once he gets back into the mix, they've got a group of bigs that Dennis Gates can rotate in and out and not really lose a step.
They all seem pretty versatile, or particularly that duo. After the Bashir miss, here comes Missouri. That duo of Pierce and Mitchell, 2 of the 3 starters that return this year for Missouri after the 22-win season. But you nailed it. It's Phillips, Javon Porter as well. That 3 is offline, and the hammer! Barrett with the follow slam.
Well, Missouri continues to be very aggressive, just going to the offensive boards, not only from the bigs, but from the guard spot. They've been very good at just finding that little area just to get that inside angle and attack.
That time it's Johnson to Rapik. So Kansas State getting into the lane and making the right play. Cruz, corner three. Way long that time. Exhibition basketball in Columbia. Again, both of these teams open up regular season play in 10 days. First time they play against evenly matched competition for the lead up to the season. McGriff trying to go to work. Kamari McGriff. Push shot with the left, couldn't hit the jump hook. Here's the freshman Rowe. Mishandled it, somehow gets it back. Back out to Phillips.
Well, that's the other piece. Guys like McGriff. You look at Bashir. You look at Johnson. They're stepping up a level.
And Phillips
from where they were and how they get their shots. And all three of them have rush shots at times because I think they're used to the athleticism at this level. Defensively, the quick closeouts, the length on the perimeter. Guys like Bashir at 6'7" would get that shot off easily in the Colonial, but it'll be a little bit different in this league. Again, nobody putting a body on Barrett on the backside. And as Tom Izzo would say, you got to tag those guys. You got to make an initial little bump on the perimeter, then go to the glass. And K-State got caught watching, and Barrett attacked.
Sophomore from Oklahoma City. He got some minutes last year as a freshman. There were a couple of games where, with some experienced guards down, he had to step up, and he played well in his time. There's McGriff.
Good job on McGriff. You know, he's got the size up front. Good job moving without the basketball, attacking on the backside, reading the defense.
Missouri going right back to work on this end.
Now, this is where I can tell you for a fact that Jerome Tang will tighten this up as the season progresses. You know, he's still talking about offensive chemistry, teams fitting in well together. That's one side of it, but sometimes the defense takes even a little bit more time, because his teams traditionally, they do not allow easy paint looks and attacking to the rim, and sure they will tighten that up over time.
That chemistry, that camaraderie, it's so critical. And of course, even at a juncture like this, it's still crystallizing. Sebastian Mack, he has had his moments tonight as well. That time on the run out, but it was the defense that forces the breakaway for Mizzou. That chemistry, camaraderie, it's still coming together. I thought it was funny how Jerome Tang put it earlier today. He goes, look, tonight is a night where somebody's going to find out what their plus-minus looks like when they come out onto the floor. They find out what takes them off the floor as well. Porter over the top. And Mizzou, couple of breakaways. They have opened this up to a 16-point edge with 8:46 to go, and it's a timeout in Columbia.
Dennis Gates, when he talked to us earlier today, talked about the ability to protect the rim, not only with his bigs, but the rotation guys, the guards. Very athletic, interchangeable, a lot of versatility, and that's the way he's built this program, to have guys that can guard 5 through 1 or 1 through 5.
7 steals, 4 blocks, the 27 fast break points today. And so after the recent surge, his Tigers have the 16-point edge. 8:46 to play in this second half. Exhibition games, preseason basketball. What's either coach walking? You know, there's still 8:46 to go.
Well,
but what is each coach walking away with?
Let's start with Kansas State, and they called that timeout, and Jerome Tang's got to clean up the defensive transition. You know, they're doing a pretty good job on offense. They've shown some life a little bit, some ability to score from different people. Haggerty being the key component of that. But when he's not on the floor, their offense seems to be out of sync a little bit. And Guys like Haggerty will dribble drive into the gap and take the ball to the rim. You must have defensive rotation from the backside. And right now, K-State's not doing that, and they're not securing the offensive rebound. Missouri has been off to the races. They're just leaking out because they see K-State does not have good defensive backcourt balance.
Last time these two were in the same conference, Kim English, a bit, obviously a very familiar name around these parts. He was running the league. It was 2012 when Missouri actually won the Big 12 tournament. They won 30 games that year. Kansas State was also a tournament team back during that season as well. Mizzou obviously moves on to the SEC, but what is it, 230 some odd matchups against these two programs in the regular season. Long-time conference rivals. And that certainly resonates with the folks, of course, in this community. We're in Columbia tonight for this one.
And Kevin, another good, strong move to the rim by Boateng. Ability to play through contact. He's got a big, strong upper body, learning how to play different angles and get to the rim under control and finish.
Largest lead of the night. Now it's a 19-point cushion for Mizzou. There is some great upside for number 6 in the white. Bashir knocks down the triple. This coaching staff likes what Boateng could be capable of off the bench. He was a highly regarded recruit. Last year, just dealt with an injury for much of last season. Didn't play that much, only 17 games. Porter finds the cutter, who's open underneath. The rookie, that time Randall, might have gotten that shot partially blocked. Haggerty goes in strong and finishes.
It's just the body control, the ability to read the defense and twist and turn and adjust in midair.
Robinson hits Porter, left it short. Porter again.
And that short roll there, and Javon Porter had the second opportunity, but you see K-State a little late on their rotations. Kevin, you asked about what coaches will take, and that's another thing. That's another teaching point. And as fans, they all want to look at the offense, but defensively, those are little things that I'm certain K-State will clean up.
Yeah, 84 points for Mizzou with 6:45 to play in the second. We'll take a timeout after the Robinson foul. To Florida. This is the Big 12 preseason poll. Of course, there's Houston at the top. BYU with, how about the high expectations surrounding A.J. DeBonsa? You got Texas Tech, Arizona, Iowa State. Tim, you know this league inside and out. What do you make of how things are slotted right there?
They make it that every night is a bear. I mean, the second column obviously is really good basketball teams as well. And anytime you pick Kansas 6th, then you got to raise your eyebrows and say, wait a minute, are they supposed to be 6th, or is the league just a monster?
Yep.
I think, how would you pick amongst any of those teams? I think any one of those top 6 or 7 could win the league. And at the end of the day, it's a Premier League again, along with the SEC.
So Kansas, by the way, played Louisville earlier tonight. Kansas wins in their exhibition bout against Louisville. And Darren Peterson, who of course has generated a whole lot of interest and buzz as well, went for 26 in that game against Louisville. So it has been a great evening of preseason hoops. And again, you talk to these coaches, I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg with matchups like this in the lead up to the season.
Well, there's a lot you have to teach your team. The basics. The basics of basketball, the basics of how to prepare on the road, being in the hotel, shutting the lights off, turning your phone off, getting to the pregame meal, watching film, coming to the shoot around, getting to the bus on time, it was just a group of things that normal fans don't think of, but as a coach, you've got to make sure every little item is buttoned up before it's for real, and gives you an opportunity. And we talked about it earlier. At one point today during the shoot-around, Kansas State practiced their huddle. Where to sit, how to. You're in the second row. You're paying attention. You're not looking up in the crowd. All of those type things. And that's why these games are important. And you don't get those out of a secret scrimmage so much. You get certain things out of a secret scrimmage. Of course, you can play 50 minutes and control the time and score. You can play game situations, which they won't have tonight. But I think this gives you a greater feel of the game, the real game atmosphere. Being on television. I see Jerome over there. He's working on his mid-season, working the refs, which is important. Again,
got to start. You got to start now.
Well, practice that in the off-season for sure.
Everything about tonight, and of course, just the lead-up. It felt real. To your point, it's different from the scrimmages, or it's different from those matchups, those scrimmages that are closed previously to the public. Boy, Honor Boateng drills another triple. So Boateng into double figures. He's the fourth Tiger with 10 or more points. He has 12.
Well, every coach likes to talk about their player development and how good it is. And what coach is going to say we don't have good player development? But when Dennis Gates says it, they can back it up with numbers over last year coming into this year. You can see it. And guys like Boateng are improved offensively and more confident, and guys that can come in and give them minutes. And you look at even Anthony Robinson. You saw what he could do last year in the best league in the country. Now, offensively, much more confident, looking for his own shot, running the team, going to get many more minutes than he did a year ago. He's going to get up into the 30s instead of averaging 23 minutes a game.
And they have wanted him to look for his shot and be more aggressive. He has. He's got 16. So he's leading all Missouri scores. Meanwhile, on the other side, P.J. Haggerty has the 21 points, also 6 assists. Haggerty, 7 of 13 from the floor as well. So he has been very efficient.
Of course, Mark Mitchell has been out since the end of the first half when he had that hard fall in the lane, and
just lobbed it over the top to Phillips. There's another two-hand smash. So Phillips with 14.
These guys are big and strong, but he still can't do what he does at the rim. And just jumping and dunking. He's got to find an angle. He's got to read the defense. His teammates have to know where he is. You have to slide and move as your defender moves, and that's where Phillips, I'm very impressed with him, his basketball IQ as far as positioning himself to just catch it with little extra motion and just finish it at the rim.
So would you say he had a couple of, was it double-doubles against Kansas State last year?
Right, he seems to.
He's at Arizona State. He fares well against this team, huh?
I have a feeling he's going to fare well against a lot of teams.
Yep.
He's a seasoned veteran and played at a high level with Arizona State, and Dennis Gates did not hesitate to compliment him right away this afternoon.
Yeah, look at his build. He's obviously all of 7 feet. You've pointed out how he moves well, and Gates has intimated that. Kind of sees the vision, a lob threat in a sense at the next level. He's been a lob threat tonight. Takes a seat. Sean Phillips Jr. 14 points, 10 rebounds as well. So he exits with a double-double with 4:47 to play. Stone at the line. Gets a couple. So when you look at that coaches poll, So you could say a lot about preseason rankings. I mean, how much do they really mean? That always ebbs and flows by the year. Boy, that one bounced around a number of times before it fell. But Missouri projected 7th in that preseason coaches poll. So a lot of folks around the league think they are, or should be, in the top half of the league once again this year. That's where they finished last season.
So Jerome Tang's going to take something from this game. They've got 79 points already with 4:16 to go. So offensively, I think he's going to say, wait a minute, we've got something here. We've got a little bit more than we've got more weaponry as far as on the perimeter. I think you look at McGriff, he gives him somebody inside that will be able to finish. I think those things will be built around P.J. Haggerty, and he will make everybody else better. And now they can go back and tighten up what they need to do on the defensive end. And that's evident tonight. Number one, getting beat over the top, that's basic basketball. That won't happen once they clean that up and get better backcourt balance, understanding when Haggerty dribble drives into the rim from the top, someone's got to rotate back. But also in the half court, their rotations seem to be a little bit off, and that's part of chemistry. That's part of timing, and they've got 10 days to get ready, and they'll keep getting better from that perspective. But the hardest thing is to try to manufacture points from guys that aren't scorers. But they've got some guys that are scorers, so I think that's something that they will be pleased about when they look back at tonight.
Crew is fouled on the takeoff along the baseline, so he'll be at the line for a pair.
And then on the flip side, Dennis Gates has got to say, he's got a lot of guys. He's got a lot of depth, and coaches have depth, but they don't know how to use it. They're afraid to go deep, afraid to maybe take out some of their better players, but I don't think they're going to skip a beat when they go to their bench. You know, obviously Robinson and when you look at Mitchell, those are the key guys, but then you plug in a Phillips. You've got a Mack now that comes in, a seasoned player at UCLA. Stone looks like he's a keeper for sure, is another guy who just come in and knock down shots. So you've got a lot of different lineups that can give you different looks on both ends.
It's a great point. They look like they are very versatile. There's a foul on the way in, and so that is a foul on Missouri. Takes us to a timeout. 3:49 to go.
Maui. But I'll make exception for you tonight since we're in October and we're doing a basketball game. So that's it doesn't matter what time it is. It's just whet the appetite, and here it comes. There's the schedule. And, you know, you might look at that and say, wait a minute, not a very tough beginning for Missouri, which is true. And Dennis Gates said, this is my philosophy. We want to ease into the season. We want to be ready for the SEC. We want to build some continuity. We want to build some success. Doesn't mean that any of those are automatic. We all know how college basketball works. There's upsets all the time. So, but he knows what the SEC will bring, and that'll be tough enough for them. And then, of course, they play Kansas. They'll play Illinois as well.
So you see for Kansas State, they're going to play one more exhibition match. That's against a Division II, in-state Division II squad. They open up against UNC Greensboro in a little more than a week and a half. So some of their notable non-conference battles, they're going to play, or some of the power conference opponents. You saw they'll play Cal. They're going to play Mississippi State and Kansas City. They're at Indiana. They're at a ranked Creighton team. And so Jerome Tang, you know, he's been vocal about maybe a little bit of a different philosophy just relative to how Dennis scheduled. He wants to make sure his guys, of course, are prepared in his way for Big 12 play.
There's a happy balance. You've got to be aware. First of all, you have to be aware of who you have, you know, and how much of a veteran team you have. If you're a young team, you make sure you don't take on too much early, because you can lose confidence with a young team and then it can go the other way quickly. So I think both these teams and coaches have a good balance of understanding that, you know, some of those other lower major teams per se, got to make sure you win those. You don't slip up and don't ignore that every night's important, because just win those games, and once you get to the league, you're going to have so many opportunities to get to the NCAA tournament because of the power of your conference.
Kansas State did that at times. They had some significant wins against ranked opponents. They got hot at one point, middle of conference play last year. For Missouri, their SEC-ACC challenge game, they will be at Notre Dame. And the two games on the schedule right now where they're scheduled to face ranked teams, they're going to play Kansas again. And then, of course, the bragging rights game against Illinois. That's in late December, their last non-conference tune-up before league play. Boy, that time I think Nick Randall rebounded that with one shoe. He's still putting his left shoe back on. It's 5-on-4 on this side of the floor. Now Manning knocked that one free. All right, now he's got a moment here to fix the blown tire. This was a one shoe rebound?
We had a game on Columbus Day. It was one of your preseason games. It was Kinetic, UConn, and Boston College, and Alex Caravan had missed like 7 threes in a row, and he lost his shoe, came down and banged one in with one shoe. So
I think they're overestimating the importance of the sneakers.
Shoes come on and off so easily these days. They're like slippers.
One sneaker, that's all you need. So final 3 minutes of this one. We have talked about it at length today. It has been fast-paced. We've certainly been in a higher possession game. Got the whistle blowing now. A couple of players got tangled up after that sequence. Everybody's separated now, but we've had a higher possession, faster-paced game. So Missouri with 97. They've shot 56% from the floor. Meanwhile, Kansas State in the second half, they've shot 52%. This is Buka at the line.
Again, I think Kansas State's got to be happy with their offense. Some of the things that they need to clean up defensively are pretty easily done. Simple rotations back in transition, not getting beat over the top. That won't happen with a Jerome Tang team. And then just the defensive principles in the half court, the 5-on-5, how to cover the short roll, how to attack the ball screens on the wing, what to do when an offensive player dribble drives into the paint, the rotations defensively, not only to stop the ball, but rebounding wise. I think at times K-State was slow to rotate back down from the guard spot to rebound, and Missouri had too many easy opportunities on the offensive glass. And Missouri, they really share the ball well. They play fast, but they share it well. It's a frenetic pace, but it's organized, where they know where to go. They space the court. They move the ball quickly. The ball does not stick at all, and they've got a lot of guys that can score from different spots on the floor.
They have looked impressive at times, for sure. And for much of this one, I should phrase it that way. Randall, he does get one at the line that time. So the freshman from St. Louis, about an hour, 45 minutes east. The #1 player in the state. And he lost a shoe again. Somebody get this man another shoe. After the miss, Missouri picks it up. Is this the other shoe? I think he lost the left shoe, and this time the right came off. Well, he gets right back into play. He's evidently a size 13, not 14. As his other class of 25 counterpart, Aaron Rowe, draws the foul.
Is it the shoe? Is it the size?
It's a mystery
or
tonight.
Is it the color, maybe? I don't know. It's pink. Pink's okay. I like pink.
It's a good look. That's a good look.
Not in the Missouri
It's not in the color scheme of for the university.
No, I took a walk through the team store. I didn't see anything in that color there.
All right, well, he is, at this point, Nick Randall is intentional here about lacing him up.
Dennis Gates would not wear a pink tie because he doesn't like pink, but he likes that gold.
Missouri at 100, which they accomplished they did that in 4 games last year. They went over 100. And so in this preseason battle against Kansas State, their old Big 12, Big 8, whatever iteration you want to throw it back to, rival, they're on their way. And, you know, we talked about coaches about that. Look, sometimes these exhibition final scores, sometimes they can be misleading. It's not as if you could judge.
No, you
exactly,
can't.
Yeah,
well,
how a season's going to
it
go
really
based on this
depends on the coach, too, and what he's trying to do. And both these guys immediately today talked about they're going to play everybody. They're going to give everybody different looks. And that's what you have to do with this game.
Jerome Tang underscored it. Dennis Gates said, look, today is not about the scoreboard. It's about the film. It's going to be about the film breakdown on the back end of this. 10 days away from opening night. I think one thing we could definitely agree on about today, some really high-level matchups, big-time programs around the sport. It's really great to see, and as you put it before, a great way to whet the appetite with this hoop season. Getting NBA, of course, getting started this week, and the college hoop season beginning in 10 days, Monday, November 3rd.
Well, this certainly beats the old alternative of playing teams that just meet in the locker room. They show up, whether they're glorified, the ABC market team or whatever. Some of those teams we used to play back in the old days.
Here's a whistle, and then you got a couple of players going chest to chest. So I think that's Barrett and Jones. So Barrett went tumbling. It looked like he clearly took exception with whatever contact there was. So let's take a look. It was, Barrett didn't like contact here from Jones. He gets up. Oh, was there really anything here?
Well, Jones gave him a unnecessary push in the back. Kind of threw him down.
Did we say it's been intense? I mean, you got a couple of teams out here on the floor.
There's Pat Adams, the old veteran. He's not too old. He's still got his fastball as the lead official, not going unnecessarily to the monitor for 5 minutes.
That's right.
See who deserves the flagrant and extra free throws here.
Time and place. Time and place for that one. 30 seconds to go. This preseason.
Thank you, Pat, for not doing that.
The cooler heads have obviously prevailed.
We've got to get to the studio. Dari's waiting up for us in Charlotte.
There's a whistle with 15.8 to go.
Which clearly they would have in a real game.
Sure.
Of course. And, but even the young guns get a little cranky after 11 o'clock at night. They need their sleep.
Well, you might have spoken too soon, partner. Pat Adams is stepping in there, of course. This time just to tell him to quit.
He's a veteran. He sees there's chatter. He doesn't want anything ridiculous to happen with 60 seconds to go.
In an exhibition game, I think he just jumped in there and said, everybody cool it for the last 15. So Missouri scores 100 10 days before opening night. 4 different players were in double figures. They shot 55% from the floor as a team. You liked how they moved the ball. Defensively, they did some good things. And so Missouri wins this one over Kansas State, their old Big 12 rival. Well, Dennis Gates is, he clearly didn't appreciate some of the late moments of this one.